Thanks for joining us on Nationwide on this special day dedicated to women. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. Today is International Women's Day. Attention is being drawn to the socio-economic, cultural and political achievements of women. The day seeks to accelerate the 2030 agenda of achieving gender equality and empowerment of women and girls. Muplan Dakong has a special report on the 2017 International Women's Day celebration.
Women all over the world face gender-based violence and discrimination, which is why the 8th of March every year is fixed as the International Women's Day globally to accelerate gender equality and consolidate progress made so far. It is also to celebrate acts of courage and determination by women who have played extraordinary roles in the history of their countries and communities. In Nigeria, several women have displayed this feat, such as Queen Amina of Zaria, Ladi Kwali, Professor Funmilayo Ransom Kuti, Buchi Emecheta, and Dora Akinwumi, among others.
We want to be empowered, and rightly so. But all I can say is that we can empower ourselves. We have the numbers, for us to actually empower ourselves in a real way, we must be part of the decision-making process.
As part of the 2017 celebration of Women's Day with the theme Be Bold for Change, the French Embassy in Nigeria organized a discussion on Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill, which, if passed into law and if implemented, will play a key role in the defense of women's rights.
Nigeria, being Africa's leading country, has a special role to play in the defense of human rights, including women's rights.
The Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill, which has passed second reading, seeks to prohibit discrimination, promote equality in education and development, and modify socio-cultural practices, among others. Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
And from the National Assembly, the Senate has mandated its Committee on Women Affairs to look into the Domestication of Violence Against Persons Promotion Act in all states of the Federation. The decision followed a motion to commemorate the International Women's Day celebration moved by Senator Bintamasi Garba, calling on governments at all levels to give women a quota in all elective positions. Details in our subsequent bulletins. There are calls for concerted effort in promoting gender equity and empowerment, as well as entrenching legislations that guarantee the rights of women to governance. This was part of submissions on NTA's Current Affairs program, Tuesday Live. Over now to Talatu Ezirike for details.
Nigerian women, resilient, dogged and enterprising, constitute about half of the nation's population, but like their counterparts globally, face challenges of poor representation in governance, disparities in education, employment and economic empowerment. The issues that have taken center stage since the beginning of the 19th century to celebrate International Women's Day that got the United Nations backing in 1975 to entrench policies and programs for women advancement. The topmost concern for Nigerian women is gainful empowerment.
The country as a whole must be bold to accept change, to allow change in order to move forward. The Future Assured program of the wife of the president tasks all wives of governors to ensure that this program gets down to the grassroots, to properly educate women at the grassroots on economic empowerment, on their contribution to nation building.
So if we really want to develop this country, we must have a mental reconstruction of the way we look at women. The stereotypes are there.
For others, a lot more needs to be done to upscale Nigerians' low gender equality profile, particularly in politics.
If your party does not give you a level playing ground to compete at the same level with the men, then change your party. We must begin to really take bold steps.
Unless we go back to the drawing board about the issues of discovery, about the issues of money politics, because those were the things that took the center stage. Even the parties that claim that they have the issues of women at heart. Indeed, we have not seen it happen.
The general language is that women be seen as partners in progress. Interestingly, the 2017 International Women's Day theme, Be Bold for Change, aligns with President Muhammadu Buhari administration's drive in building a strong nation that, among other things, give women opportunities to flourish. Talati Ezobike, NTA News.
Sure, Talatu. And wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, says it is imperative for all stakeholders, particularly governments at all levels, to rise to the global challenge of achieving gender equality and empowerment for all women and girls. In a statement signed by the Director, Information Office of the wife of the President, Suleiman Haruna, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, while felicitating with fellow Nigerian women and women world over, noted that this year's International Women's Day theme, Be Bold for Change, encourages taking groundbreaking actions that drive the greatest change for women. These will accelerate gender parity and help women advance, as well as unleash their limitless potential, which is in line with the objectives of the Sustainable Development Goals. As the world marks the 2017 International Women's Day, Mrs. Buhari reaffirms her commitment towards the cause of women through the Future Assured initiative, through which thousands of women and children have benefited. And women-focused civil society organizations are strategizing towards the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals. To this end, a national training under a project known as Agenda 2030 was held in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Records show that many countries, including Nigeria, did not meet the 2015 target of the Millennium Development Goals. Consequently, 52 nations, including Nigeria, came under an umbrella known as Agenda 2030 project with the sole aim of seeking ways of attaining the SDGs goals, which succeeded the MDGs, especially goals that affect the women gender.
Our leaders have gone to sign up to the Agenda 2030. And signing up to this Agenda 2030 is not just enough.
Titi Akosa and John Baki believe that the time to work towards the implementation of the goals is now.
This is the time we need to start. We have years ahead of us now, and we can start very well.
They will be armed with the skills to collect data, to monitor policy and legislations, how they relate to the implementation of the SDGs.
Conveners of the training implored relevant concerned agencies to consider women as most vulnerable gender and focus more on issues that will impact on them.
Our budgets at the state level, how are they contributing to the achievement of the SDGs? If we start that way, then there will be hope. But if we are waiting for a targeted funding, which may be difficult to come by now, we may not have that hope.
2 participants each from each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, including the FCT, participated at the training. They are to replicate the knowledge acquired to other civil society organizations in their respective zones. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And it's time to join our Lagos Network Center with Jennifer, standing by with top stories from that zone. Happy Women's Day to you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Hawa. Good evening, and I think it's very appropriate to say Happy International Women's Day. Now, the third batch of the 171 deportees from Libya arrived at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, yesterday. Kenny Buluge reports that the returnees' journey back to Nigeria was facilitated by the International Organization for Migration.
The 171 returnees from Libya were received at the Hajj camp by officials of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and National Commission for Refugees. They are made up of 83 females and 73 males, 12 children and 3 infants. The deportees were profiled by officials of the Nigerian Immigration Services.
Embarking on a sensitization program very soon to the grassroots and to talk to these people, to sensitize them, to create awareness, advocacy, tell them that there is not what it seems to be over there, that people should stay back home and be hardworking and decent living.
I want to use them as point of contact with those of them who want to embark on this kind of dangerous journey, to know that there is no greener pasture anywhere than where you were born and brought up. There is opportunity lying everywhere in Nigeria, so we enjoy to explore this opportunity and make a living out of it.
Some of the deportees who spoke to NTA News regretted leaving the country.
I feel good coming back home, because over there it wasn't easy anymore. There was no place to hide. It was terrible. A lot died. Some were injured. But for us, I will count myself lucky.
We advise all our colleagues, if they hear about Libya, we really advise them that they should not try it at all.
So far, more than 600 deportees from Libya have arrived in Nigeria since December 2016 in Lagos. Ken Ibeluge, NTA News.
Now to road maintenance. The condition of public infrastructure will improve considerably in Nigeria if adequate attention is given to prompt maintenance by all tiers of government in the country. This was a collective view of members House of Representatives Committee on the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, after inspecting projects being handled by the agency in Lagos. Deji Idowu has the details.
Bridge, the longest and busiest in Nigeria, has been receiving periodic maintenance over the years. The latest is asphalt overlay on the platform of the bridge. The scope includes scraping of the face sections before spreading fresh asphalt, a development that has led to smoother driving on the bridge. The leader of the inspection team says this type of periodic maintenance should be encouraged.
We should not wait until there is a total breakdown or collapse of our infrastructure before we start the rescue mission. If you continuously maintain your infrastructure, it will last over a long period of time.
We did it in about 6 different locations on this bridge, though that's not the entire section that needs milling and asphalt overlay. But that's what we could take care of now.
FEMA has also restored face sections along Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway around the old toll gate to the relief of motorists. The team also inspected the ongoing construction of bus culvert and drainage channel at Ojo area along Old Ibadan-Oyo Highway. The ecological problem in this area started after the construction of the new Ibadan-Oyo Expressway, and the stormwater from the new road caused erosion of the area.
The provision we have made presently is to accommodate the water coming from the old road and the new road, and with a provision also to properly channel the water.
We'll go back and look at everything holistically and see how, one, we're going to strengthen the people in FEMA to continue with their job.
This team from House Committee on FEMA is expected to inspect projects being handled by the agency in the Southwest and Kwara State. In Lagos, Dichido, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide News on the NTA Network service. Now, time to join Hawa in Abuja for more reports. Happy Women's Day again.
Very well, Jennifer. Moving on now, Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, was guest at the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Company, Bonny Island in Rivers State. Anthony Folsom reports that the visit afforded the minister the opportunity to appreciate the role the company is playing in contributing to the nation's economic growth. The report.
Established 30 years ago, the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Company has lived up to its expectations.
With the largest liquefied natural gas fleet in Africa, it has markets spread around the world. The company was ranked 4th in liquefied natural gas export as at 2015. Nigeria has a reserve that can push it to the top 5 position. The company started with an initial investment of about $6 billion. The company today has an asset base of over $11 billion and has generated over $90 billion in reserve. The NLNG company has 100% Nigerian staff strength. Its contribution in taxes stands at over $15 billion and other payments to all tiers of government to the tune of $51 billion. The minister spoke to newsmen shortly after the facility tour.
I did not know that Nigeria has
a humongous asset as the NLNG. Awed, inspired, excited, and proud to be a Nigerian. This arguably the best success story of this country.
The managing director, Tony Atta, said the positive contributions of the company is under threat.
It is very imminent now. It is time for gas, as we said. It is time for Nigeria. It's time for Train 7 and 8. But as you expect, a few things have to be right. A critical element of that really is around the NLNG Act, the amendment proposed on the NLNG Act. We think that is not helping. We think it will not help Nigeria. We think it will not help us achieve Train 7 and 8. I think that has to be stopped, really.
Nigeria stands to lose over $70 billion in investment and between $53 and $124 billion as income, should the act be amended. From Bonny Island in Rivers State, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
FCT Minister Mohammed Musa Bello has lamented the epileptic distribution of power to the territory, saying it is barely enough to power critical infrastructure in the nation's capital. He spoke during a visit by the management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria. Metaire Ikben tells us more.
The FCT minister said powering Abuja's critical infrastructure, including street lights, hospitals and water treatment plants, have been a major challenge for the FCT administration, pointing out that 11% electricity distributed from the national grid to FCT and neighboring states is grossly inadequate.
But even for the security of the city, and really I'm sure when you go around the city at night, the infrastructure is there. I mean, we have put in street lights in most of the major streets, but there's simply no power. And really we don't want to use generator in multiple locations. I don't know how you could look at it, but I do recall some years back, there was a big station in Katape, on the outskirts, and those days used to be on the outskirts of Maitama area, and that was powering the city. I think it's very important we look at that, and we are willing to partner with you and, bear some of the cost if it's doable.
Managing Director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, Usman Mohammed, said modalities are being worked out to channel additional power lines through Nasarawa State into Abuja.
We are moving to ensure that we expand the transmission network, and we are also moving to solve the problem of the capacity and the reliability of power supply.
He said TCN currently transmits power into FCT through Gwagwalada and Suleja axis. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And away from energy matters, people in Gombe State have joined other Nigerians in praying for the good health of President Muhammadu Buhari. Ibrahim Jibrin completes the report.
President Muhammadu Buhari, call for that sick bed now in the name of Jesus and declare your healing immediately now.
Muslims and Christians abandoned their places of work to converge on the Emir's Palace Gombe in the early hours of the day for the special prayer. They took turns to pray the Almighty for the quick recovery of President Muhammadu Buhari, his administration and the nation as a whole. Just like all who spoke at the event, conveners of the special prayer believe with prayers nothing is impossible. They ask Nigerians not to relent in telling God their problems, and he will surely answer them.
In a situation where the president is not in good health, it is mandatory for patriotic Nigerians to pray for quick recovery of the president, because his presence in the office is very, very important to the development and social economy of our country.
It's for the two religions to come together, the Christian religion and the Muslim religion, to pray for the healing of our president.
We are gathered here, all of us, the people of Gombe, in order to pray for Allah Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to give him health.
It is the duty for all Nigerians to group together and pray for the president.
The special prayer marks the series of similar ones organized in mosques and churches across Gombe State for President Muhammadu Buhari. In Gombe, Ibrahim Jibrin, NTA News.
The All Progressives Congress APC national leader Bola Ahmed Tinubu has inaugurated various projects in Kaga local government area of Borno State as part of post-insurgency reconstruction and resettlement program. The APC national leader, who was in the state for a 2-day weekend visit, was accompanied by other party members. Lami Ali reports.
Projects commissioned in Beni Sheikh town, headquarters of Kaga, include the General Hospital, which was renovated, upgraded and equipped with modern facilities. Health Commissioner Dr. Haruna Mushelia described the commissioning as an achievement in the health sector in spite of the challenges. As the commissioning of the Aisha Buhari Primary and Junior Secondary School, the use of care and technology, a multimedia system used to teach pupils and students, was demonstrated. The introduction of this technology is in line with the vision of the present administration of repositioning the education sector to provide quality and functional education in public schools. Also commissioned was the Kaga local government secretariat, also raised down by the Boko Haram insurgents, during which the Commissioner for Reconstruction and Resettlement, Professor Babagan Omar, said the structure was reconstructed due to the level of damage. Other projects commissioned include the Gamdu Primary School, where the Commissioner for Education, Inu Okubo, said enrollment has risen by 800, out of which 300 are female pupils, and presented poverty alleviation materials to women at Gamdu Model School. At Tamsukar Village, Bola Tinubu commissioned a school and a health center. 1,000 tractors were chased to enhance agricultural activities in the state, as well as the housing estates to resettle returning residents of the area. Certificates of joint ownership were presented to the households along with male and female goats, while the women got chickens. Similar process was adopted at Mentokururi village while commissioning the resettlement estate there. After commissioning the mobile fish pond and varieties of plantations where seedlings were nurtured to enhance economic activities through irrigation, the entourage proceeded to Minor village to commission a primary and junior secondary school, as well as the office of the Federal Road Safety Corps. Lami Ali, NTA News.
And the Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative has advocated compulsory education for children in the Northeast region. To this end, the committee wants the Federal Ministry of Education to work with the National Assembly to fashion legislation to that effect. Joseph Orok reports that this was at a meeting between the committee and the Minister of State Education in Abuja.
With the return of normalcy in the northeast states of the country and the willingness of inhabitants of this region to return home, providing a conducive environment for study in school has become a challenge. To mitigate this challenge, the committee is seeking the support of the Education Ministry, especially with the already known cases of out-of-school and low literacy rates in the region. Commending the Federal Ministry of Education on efforts made so far for the displaced people of the region through the then Safe School initiative, the committee urged the ministry to work out a curriculum that will fast-track the elimination of extremism among the people.
Requesting the Federal Ministry of Education to maybe send a bill to the National Assembly to make it mandatory and compulsory for parents to send their children to schools, and even assign punitive measures to be made for anybody who has refused to send his or her child to school, and particularly the girl child. You know, parents are in the habit of withdrawing their girl child from school for marriage.
And with the commitment of the Nigerian government, the Ministry of Education, external bodies, development partners, every effort is there to make sure that we will revive, reconstruct, and put in some good place education, particularly in the Northeast.
The Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative is to forward a comprehensive plan of action to the Federal Ministry of Education for consideration. Joseph Orok, NTA News.
And the Nigerian Army has set up a special board of inquiry to investigate allegations of human rights violation involving its personnel. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, inaugurated the board.
In 2011, the National Human Rights Commission presented its first reported alleged case of human rights violation in the course of counter-insurgency operations in northeast Nigeria involving the Nigerian army. These and other allegations ranging from extrajudicial executions, arbitrary arrest, detention, torture, and enforced disappearance of Boko Haram suspects are the focus of the board.
These allegations are not good for civil-military relations. It is therefore expedient to thoroughly and impartially investigate these allegations in order to find out the facts of the matter, to enable relevant authorities to take appropriate actions.
The 8-man board constituted in line with best international practice has members drawn from serving and retired army officers, while the National Human Rights Commission is to act as observer.
We will be very objective in all that we will do to ensure that we produce a credible report.
Cases already investigated and concluded by the National Human Rights Commission and state governments are excluded from the scope of the panel. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
A Nigerian military holds workshop on counter-terrorism just as police parades suspect. Over now to Chinyere in our Enugu Network Center for details. You're on.
Thank you, Hawa, and welcome to Enugu. Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi has commended the federal government and the Nigerian military for the sustained fight against terrorism, which is yielding results. The governor was speaking at a workshop on counter-terrorism strategy, implementation and sensitization organized by the state government in collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor.
In the wake of terrorism in Nigeria, government at all levels profiled so many ways of countering the ugly menace, which was taking dangerous paths. So many agencies were co-opted into different groups to come up with best strategies to counter terrorism. The objective of this workshop is therefore to create awareness and further create an inclusive platform that will support anti-terrorism activities in Nigeria. The state governor, represented by the secretary to the government, said Enugu State has designed workable plans to support anti-terrorism activities with the launch of toll-free phone line 117 as Friendship Emergency Call Center through the partnership of GSM service providers.
Frequency and rampant occurrences of these acts are no doubt responsible for the high level of insecurity in some parts of the country today.
The National Security Advisor, represented by Al-Hassan Husseini, said the workshop is expected to bring states to key into the federal government's counter-terrorism initiative and to mobilize ideas and efforts.
To all government and state ministries, departments and agencies, NGOs, including non-governmental organizations.
The workshop drew participants from the military, paramilitary, non-governmental organizations, government agencies, local government areas, among others. In Enugu,
Imo State Police Command has paraded about 50 suspected criminals arrested for various crimes in the state. The suspects were paraded at the command's headquarters, Owerri, by the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Taiwo Lakano. Kingsley Ononiwu reports.
Paraded before newsmen by the police included suspected armed robbers, kidnappers, child traffickers, cultists, murderers, vandals of electricity installations, among others. Among the suspected armed robbers were the alleged killers of an American veteran soldier, Mr. Oscar Okebata, who was killed on the 12th day of January 2017. Briefing newsmen, the Imo State Commissioner of Police commended the officers and men of his command for stemming the tides of crime in the state.
We are recording between January 27, 2017 and dates a complete reduction in kidnapping, armed robbery, cultism, and child stealing / trafficking cases within the state in recent time. We are assuring members of the public through application of effective engagements to perform our responsibilities of providing adequate security always.
Some of the suspects confessed to the crimes, while others maintained their innocence
He used my account to get some money, not knowing that it was fraud.
They talk, I know they talk about. They are innocent of it. That is all I can say.
Items recovered from them included guns of different types and sizes, live ammunition, charms, hard drugs, vehicles, including other dangerous weapons in Owerri. Kingsley Onaniwu, NTN News.
Key players in the education sector say the move towards tackling poor performance of students in schools requires an inclusive effort from all concerned. This, they say, will improve quality of teaching and revive a falling standard of education. Amaka Owo takes a look at ways to revive the standard of education in Nigeria.
Education remains a veritable tool that fast-tracks the development of various sectors in the nation. However, this critical sector has suffered daunting challenges as available statistics reveal a decline in the performance of pupils and students in primary and secondary schools in the last few years. Key players in the education sector identify several challenges affecting the performance of students and pupils in schools to include high cost of education, poor remuneration for teachers, poor infrastructure, among others.
Many teachers are not scholastic. Scholastic in those terms of the fact that they don't read, they don't study, they don't prepare their lessons. Some use one lesson note years, over the years. So no innovation.
Teachers want to get what a person in the ministry is getting because they taught that one particular person.
On the part of the state government, special advisor to the Enugu State Governor on Education and other key experts say, in addition to the 5.4 billion naira allocated to the education sector into 2017 budget, the state government has adopted other strategies such as routine supervision of teaching activities.
Since we came on board 2015, we have been talking about how to hold this exam and practice. So that at the end of the day, the student, the child will come up with what he is by reading, no longer easy way.
Consequently, the students and pupils themselves have major role of facing their studies in the face of increasing distractions from the internet and traditional media. In Enugu, Amaka O, NT News.
And that's the much we'll have for you from here. It's back to you, Hawa. Happy International Women's Day celebration. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Chinyere. Moving on, the Central Bank of Nigeria has proposed additional 3 members into the board of the Assets Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, instead of the 6 earlier requested by the management. CBN's Director Legal, Kofo Abdusalami Alida, made the request at the end of a 2-day public hearing by the House Committee on Banking and Currency, which has the responsibility of looking into a bill for an act to amend AMCON. National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa has more on the public hearing.
The Central Bank of Nigeria also proposes that the 3-member appointment should be one independent non-executive director to be nominated by the Federal Minister of Finance.
One extra independent non-executive director to be nominated by CBN and one other director to be nominated by CBN to serve as additional institutional representative of the banks.
The Secretary of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, Taribo Belema, appeals for more powers for AMCON to enable the authority perform optimally, while also urging that appointments of AMCON board members should be approved by the Senate as obtained by political appointments.
Primary mortgage banks should not be appointed as a member of the board of AMCON until after 5 years of leaving service.
The chairman, House Committee on Banking and Currency, Jones Chukwudi Onyereri, advised the management of NSIA against delays in submitting its proposals on time, but commended the CBN, NDIC, and the media for their dedication to the public hearing.
We'll take a very critical look at the 4 bills, one on the amendment of the Buffet Act. The second one is really gone already, the repeal of the People's Bank of Nigerian Act.
The public hearing was on bills for an act to amend banks and other financial institutions. Rabbi Musa, NTA News.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service has put the aggregate tax revenue collected for the year 2016 at 3.3 trillion naira, translating to 79% of the 4.2 trillion naira target for the same year. The executive chairman of FIRS, Tunde Fowler, gave the figures when the House Committee on Finance on Oversight Duties visited his office. Kenneth Nanim completes the report.
Out of the 3.3 trillion naira collected, the non-oil revenue contributed 2.149 trillion naira, while the taxes on oil contributed 1.157 trillion naira. The executive chairman, FIRS, Tunde Fowler, cited dwindling oil price in the global market and pipeline vandalism in the Niger Delta as reasons for the shortfall of revenue in the oil sector. However, he explained that the agency has collected a total of 553.33 billion naira between January and February this year, representing an increase of 35.36%.
We are able to achieve 92% of budget on the federation accounts, and that is why most of the states and local governments were in a better position to fund the activities.
Members raised various concerns on what the agency is doing to curtail illegal charges and demanded details of its activities for the year 2016. The committee also inspected the corporate head office of the FIRS under construction. The project was awarded in 2014 at the cost of 39 billion naira and is about 60% completed.
Even though they were not able to meet 100%, but they did well on oil and gas, which does not constitute part of the 4% cost of collection, and other non-oil taxes. They've done well, at least substantially above 75%. And on the basis of that, they generate the 4% cost of collection. And naturally, it will affect the budget.
The management of FRI said the projects may undergo variation to ensure completion as scheduled. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
And you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Let's pause for some messages now. Nationwide continues shortly. Do stay with us.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains. Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
Now, you can hold that dream occasion without stress. Horizon Caterers will provide answers to all your catering questions. Exquisite hall designs, mouth-watering and nourishing local and continental cuisine, suitable for all types of ceremonies, including weddings, AGMs, business luncheon, cocktails. Name it, we can bring it. Our chefs and executive waiters give your guests that unforgettable experience in service. Our service covers all states of the Federation. Call us today to book your occasions. 0805-502-9637, 0803-450-9726, 0909-9708-111. Horizon Caterers, experience catering beyond the horizon.
Originally, I just carry myself like this. I don't turn agent. Wham.
Why has one of the world's friendliest occupations become such a nightmare in the hands of some people?
You be talk of town. Say now you be the latest agent with day in town now.
Why has the circle of lies become the smartest thing?
You will give me 3 bay first. That one are for consultation fee.
Here.
you give me another 2 bay. Now finding fee with the column.
Here.
You give me 1K.
Are we going for excursion?
That one for the excursion fee. You too sharp.
Professor John Bull, this week's episode of your rib-cracking comedy, Estate Agent.
Come on, this thing with me like shrine address for inside my hotel. The person where they teach me this job, the person you all know. You all what? You all pass me? Your president is Tasso Rock. Now I'm by him.
And showing at 8:30 p.m. every Tuesday and Friday on NTA Network International and Star Times.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
Welcome to the new speed of life. Do you crave class? Do you have taste? And do you care about comforts? If you do, then for your next event, a stay away from home, a business trip, or a holiday, visit Jade's Hotel at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. Check out our world-class services, exquisite suites, restaurant and bar, gymnasium, spa and grills, and our outdoor catering services and cuisines. At Jade's, it can only be better. For bookings and reservations, visit us today at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja, or visit www.jadeshotels.com. Our email address is info@jadeshotels.com. You can also call us on 09291-9321 or 0810-909-7956. Jade's Hotels. Welcome to life.
When Ogenekume Pillar Egona was just 6 years old, she was diagnosed with cancer of the bone.
When I bumped my leg, I started to feel better, but my parents told me it was cancer.
I was shocked because it's something I couldn't imagine.
Her parents had to make a choice that would affect their daughter's future forever.
On the Sports Parliament this week, the 2017 Confederation of African Football presidential election will be held on 16th March in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with incumbent Issa Hayatou from Cameroon and Madagascar FA chairman Ahmed contesting. The elections are held every 4 years, and 70-year-old Hayatou has been in the position since 1988. Ahmed, the 57-year-old who is in his third term as head of the Madagascar FA, is seen as a dark horse, but he has built a solid base. The continent waits with bated breath to see which way the pendulum will swing. Sports Parliament, keeping abreast with sporting issues as never before.
Thanks for rejoining us. It's nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Moving on, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has presented a certificate of return to Basi Etim as Senator-elect, Akwa Ibom North East Senatorial District.
Pleasure to present you with a certificate of return on behalf of the Commission. This was that.
Senator-elect Basi Etim of the People's Democratic Party reacts.
It's indeed independent and neutral. And also, INEC is a law-abiding entity.
The Federal High Court in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State ruled that both PDP and Basi Albert Akman could not prove that Basi Etim was not the authentic winner of the PDP primary election conducted in December 2015. And in a swift reaction, the Federal High Court in Abuja has nullified the certificate of return issued by INEC to Basi Etim as Senator-elect of Akwa Ibom North East. This is sequel to a suit filed by Senator Basi Albert Akman, who is the sitting senator. The court described it as an abuse of court process. The FCT Water Board says its water facility at the Garki Area 8 has been damaged by a road construction company. The development head of distribution Department, FCT Water Board, Aliyu Ahmed Nahuche, says will affect water supply within Garki 1 and 2 central areas. Abdullahi Ajia completes the report.
After assessing the level of damage on the water facility, Head of Distribution, FCT Water Board, Engineer Aliyu Ahmed Nahuche, who promptly led his men to the site of the incident, explains.
What you can see here is that there is a construction going on by Cetraco, or a construction company per se, and we have a 600 mm line that it feeds the central area, Garki and environment. So it was punctured during the process of the excavation. As it is now, you can see what has gone on. Even though we have controlled the water, but it's still going on at the moment, but it's subsiding gradually.
What is the implication of this in the supply of water to FCT residents?
This line supplies central area and most part of Garki, Garki 2, Garki 1 also. So they are going to be affected by this damage 5.
So for how long do you think this will be able to be fixed?
We don't want it to be so much long as it is. We are just in the process of controlling the water. It's what we can be able to handle within 48 hours as normally time of major or minor repairs.
As at the time of filing this report, some parts within the central area are already experiencing a disruption of water supply. In Abuja, Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
And we now go over to our Jos Network studios, where Caleb will be our guide on top stories from that zone. Good afternoon to you, Caleb, and happy International Women's Day.
In its bid to enhance socio-economic development, security and civil-military relations, the Nigerian Air Force has established a special command in Plateau State. A Cameron Kaneng Ladoja, who was at the groundbreaking ceremony of the command, reports that the unit is called 205 Combat Search and Rescue Group, located in Kerang, Mangu local government area.
To the glory of God and humanity.
The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, while appreciating the government and people of Plateau State for aiding the Nigerian Air Force in the establishment of the specialized unit in Mangu, said its personnel will operate professionally and within the ambit of the law for the good of all stakeholders.
The unit is so located to shorten NAV's response time and improve combat search and rescue efforts of troops in crisis areas within the country. The units have an array of specialized platforms and equipment, including medical facility and educational institutions.
Air Marshal Abubakar noted that the Nigerian Air Force will continue to build the capacity of its personnel and strive towards adding value to security in Nigeria. Plateau State Governor and special guest of the occasion, Simon Nalong, said the establishment of the group will provide a safe and secure environment for development on the plateau and in turn Nigeria.
205 Combat Search and Rescue Group, strategic location at Kerang, has the important advantage of shortening dramatically the NAV's response time and improving turnaround time for troops providing search and rescue efforts.
The Nigerian Air Force has established Special Operations Command with specialized units in Bauchi, Gusau, Ipetu Ijesha, Katsina, Owerri, Yola, and Kerang in Plateau State. The command has its headquarters in Bauchi State. From Kerang, Ekemeren Kaneng Ladoja, NTA News.
The University of Jos has been lauded for recording significant improvement in the management of HIV and AIDS. United States Ambassador to Nigeria, William Studd Symington, gave the commendation when he visited AIDS Prevention Initiative Nigeria, APIN, Center at Youth, where he interacted with stakeholders and an on-the-spot assessment of facilities. Ambassador Symington's visit can be described as brief and eventful. Going down memory lane, Principal Investigator Dr. Oche Agbaji said since the commencement in 2004 of the United States President Emergency for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR support, EPIN, in collaboration with youth, has provided comprehensive HIV care and treatment to over 9,000 clients in the state.
We have the land, we have the human resource, we have the capacity that has been built. So we're just waiting for people like you who are visiting to tell you that you can invest more.
Professor Banwat expressed appreciation to the United States government for providing the necessary support, which has gone a long way in touching lives positive. Having heard and seen, Mr. William Symington could not but shower praises on the youth management and all stakeholders for making the EPIN Center a success story.
This is a remarkable place. This is a place where Nigerians, with a little help from outside, are making it possible for Nigerians to thrive.
The center boasts of a state-of-the-art molecular laboratory, robust electronic medical records, and standard infrastructure for efficient and effective patient monitoring and management. Governor Simon Lalong says his administration will continue to deepen and strengthen the progress made so far to nurture the peace being enjoyed in the state. The governor made this remark when he declared open the Justice and Security Dialogue organized by the West African Network for Peace Building in partnership with the Plateau State Peace Building Agency. Paul Dama reports.
Governor Simon Lalong assured that his administration is working tirelessly to prevent any outbreak of violent conflict and ultimately ensure lasting peace in the state through the enthronement of social justice. He said together with his team in governance, the administration has been able to establish a synergy with stakeholders to strengthen government's resolve and determination to build a peaceful society.
I'm a firm believer in the fact that as we transform people, we'll be transforming relationships. And as we transform relationships, we'll be transforming societies into platforms upon which we can achieve the goals of good governance.
The United States Ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. William Stuart Symington, says the dialogue session is fundamental as it further enhances the ties between citizens and the security agencies.
This is a moment when all of you get to come together and talk about what I think is the most profound bond, a bond between citizens and their nation, a bond between citizens and their future, a bond between citizens and their own security.
Director General Plateau State Peace Building Agency, Mr. Joseph Lengman, says the collaborative framework is to address issues of distrust and suspicion that has emerged as consequences of the post-conflict era in the state. In Jos, Paul Dama, NTA News.
Hawa, happy Women's Day. It's back to you.
Many thanks to you, Caleb. And on the foreign scene, more than 30 people killed and scores wounded in Kabul military hospital attacked by so-called Islamic State militants. And 83-year-old ex-Panama ruler, General Manuel Antonio Noriega, in a critical condition, undergoes second operation after suffering brain hemorrhage. Noriega was a key U.S. ally in Central America for 4 decades. For more reports, let's join Ronke Kolawole on Global Tidbits.
The Moroccan government has taken further steps to checkmate illegal migration and armed trafficking. Being a main entrance of illegal migrants from sub-Saharan Africa, Morocco had in recent times raised vigilance in the region. In Senegal, the mayor of Dakar, Khalifa Sall, is in police debt for allegedly embezzling public fund to the tune of $2.9 million. Sall denied the allegation, placing it on the premise of political motivation. Report says Sall is widely considered a possible presidential contender in 2019 elections. Sequel to the ruling by a high court in South Africa that the move to exit the International Criminal Court, ICC, is unconstitutional, government has now revoked its withdrawal. The decision to pull out of the Hague-based court came after the failure to arrest Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir when he visited South Africa in 2015, despite ICC arrest order. And now to Australia, where police and immigration officials are now investigating how a man, Shyam Achanya, has been able to operate as a fake medical doctor in the country's hospital for over a decade. Achaya has been accused of stealing a doctor's name and qualification in India before moving to Australia to practice. For Global Tidbits, Ronke Kolawole, NT News.
Sports now. League Management Company and La Liga train over 60 coaches in Abuja as injury forces Serena Williams out of 2 tennis competitions. Moving on to Amanzi Marcus with Sports Update.
The Nigerian Referees Association commenced its 2017 first quarter fitness test for members Tuesday at the main bowl of the Abuja National Stadium, with all the participating FIFA referees scaling through. The exercise ends Thursday with Premier League referees, as officials insist standards must be sustained for the good of the game.
FIFA says you have to run 4 times in a year. That is every 3 months for you to be fit and be engaged in a game.
About 60 youth and Nigerian Nationwide League coaches have concluded a 3-day capacity building program held at the Abuja National Stadium in